that you two have made giving back a key part of your lives. So, hey, when you have your firstborn, can I have it? Because that is going to be one special baby. You know, the mission of the Dollywood Foundation is to dream more, care more, learn more, and be more.
Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift may have found a deeply personal way to honor Dolly Parton, after the country music legend once made a playful request that suddenly feels far more meaningful in light of the tributes surrounding her. During a memorable appearance connected to Travis and Jason Kelce, Dolly addressed Taylor and Travis directly after learning about their reported $2 million donation to her imagination library. And instead of simply thanking them, she turned the moment into something much more personal. With her unmistakable warmth and humor, Dolly joked that because the couple had already shown such a strong commitment to giving back, she wanted something in return when they eventually had their first child. She playfully asked whether she could have the baby, calling the future child something truly special, and promised that she would love them. At the time, the exchange was lighthearted, affectionate, and unmistakably Dolly, the kind of unexpected moment that could make an audience laugh and smile within seconds. But after the reports surrounding Dolly's passing and the renewed attention on her legacy, those words have taken on an entirely different emotional weight. Now, claims circulating in the material surrounding this story suggest that Travis and Taylor have discussed honoring Dolly by giving their first child the name Dolly, transforming what began as a playful moment into a possible lasting tribute. Nothing about the idea changes what Dolly meant to millions of people, but it adds another layer to a relationship that was already marked by generosity, admiration, and an unusual connection between two of the world's biggest stars and one of music's most beloved figures. The story begins with that donation because it was more than just a number. Dolly's imagination library has long represented her belief that children should have access to books and opportunities regardless of where they come from. And when Travis and Taylor reportedly chose to support that mission with such a substantial contribution, Dolly was clearly moved. Her response was not formal or distant. Instead, she spoke directly to the couple with gratitude and then delivered the unforgettable joke about their future firstborn. She essentially turned a charitable gesture into a personal conversation, imagining a future that neither Travis nor Taylor had publicly defined at that moment. That is what makes the exchange so fascinating now. Dolly was not simply thanking two celebrities for donating money. She was acknowledging something she apparently recognized in them, their willingness to use their influence for something bigger than themselves. And then came the playful request that would become the detail people remembered most. Dolly asked for their future child, joking that the baby would be special because of the generosity Travis and Taylor had already shown. It was classic Dolly Parton, affectionate, funny, and impossible to forget. But there is another reason the moment has continued to attract attention. Travis and Taylor are themselves constantly surrounded by speculation about their future, particularly whenever their relationship moves into another major chapter. Their lives have been followed closely for years, and even ordinary moments can become the subject of intense public discussion. Marriage, family, and children have naturally become part of that conversation, even when the couple themselves have chosen not to reveal every detail of their private plans. That makes any suggestion about what they might name a future child especially intriguing, but it is important to separate what has actually been confirmed from what is being claimed. The material provided for this story says that insiders believe Travis and Taylor agree with Dolly's wishes and plan to name their first child Dolly. However, that claim should be treated cautiously unless the couple themselves publicly confirm it. What is confirmed within the reference is Dolly's own playful request and the couple's reported charitable support of her imagination library. The idea of naming a child Dolly therefore carries emotional significance, but it remains a reported plan rather than something viewers should assume has been officially announced by Travis or Taylor. And perhaps that uncertainty is exactly what makes the story so compelling. Imagine the contrast between the original moment and the possibility being discussed now. Dolly, smiling and speaking directly to the couple, making a playful request about their future child. Travis and Taylor, already known for living under enormous public attention, potentially carrying those words with them long after the conversation ended. Years could pass, circumstances could change, and the future could look completely different, yet a simple sentence from Dolly could remain in their memories. If they eventually did choose the name Dolly, it would not simply be another celebrity baby name. It could become a tribute to a woman whose influence reached far beyond music. Dolly Parton's career was built around songs, performances, acting, philanthropy, business, and storytelling.
A key part
Perhaps
of
her
your
most enduring
lives,
quality
so,
was the way she made people
hey,
feel seen. Her public
When you
image
have
was
your
larger
first
than
one,
life,
can
yet her
I
message
have it?
repeatedly returned to
'Cause that
kindness,
is gonna
generosity,
be
education, family, and giving
one
people hope.
special
That is
baby.
especially relevant to Travis
You
and
know,
Taylor
the
because their
mission
connection to Dolly
of the
was not
Dollywood
presented simply as a celebrity
Foundation
friendship.
is to dream
The
more,
donation to the
care
Imagination Library
more,
connected them to
learn
one of Dolly's
more,
most meaningful
and be
causes,
more.
helping place books into the hands of children.
Taylor
That makes the
Swift
possibility of
may
a
have found
child
a
carrying Dolly's
deeply
name feel
personal
symbolically
way
connected
to
to the very
honor
moment that
Dolly
brought the three
Parton.
names together.
After
There's
the
also something
country
striking
music
about the way Dolly
legend
framed the
once
idea
made a
herself.
playful
She did not ask for a
request that
trophy, a
suddenly
dedication,
feels
or some
far
grand
more
public gesture.
meaningful in light
She jokingly
of the
asked about the
tributes
couple's
surrounding
future
her.
child, which made the moment feel intimate despite being shared publicly. It was almost as if Dolly was imagining herself becoming part of a future chapter in their lives. Of course, her words were delivered with humor, and nobody watching that exchange could reasonably mistake the joke for a literal request. But memorable jokes sometimes become meaningful because of the emotion behind them. Dolly's message was ultimately one of affection. She was telling Travis and Taylor that she admired what they were doing, and that she believed their future family would be special. That sentiment is what gives the story its emotional center. After the reported news of Dolly's passing, attention naturally returned to moments that captured her personality. And this exchange stands out because it contains so much of her character in such a short interaction. There's gratitude, humor, generosity, and an unexpected glimpse toward the future all at once. Travis and Taylor's response to Dolly's legacy has also reportedly emphasized her grace, determination, and lasting impact, reinforcing the idea that they understood the significance of the woman behind the music. For Travis, there is another interesting connection. His public personality has often been associated with humor, competition, family, and a willingness to laugh at himself, while Dolly's public persona has similarly balanced enormous fame with warmth and humor. The reference material also shows Travis discussing family life, children, and parenting in conversations with Jason Kelce and George Clooney, revealing a side of him that is much more reflective than the headlines surrounding his football career might suggest. In that conversation, parenting was not presented as a publicity opportunity. It was discussed as something challenging, funny, and deeply personal. Travis spoke about watching his own family grow and about learning from the experiences of parents around him. That background matters because Dolly's playful request was ultimately about the future, not fame. A child named Dolly would exist in a world where nearly every detail of Travis and Taylor's lives could attract attention, yet the meaning behind the name could remain entirely personal. It could represent a promise to remember Dolly not just as a superstar, but as someone who encouraged them to give back. It could connect a future generation to a woman who believes strongly in children and education, and it could preserve a tiny moment of humor that otherwise might have disappeared into the enormous archive of celebrity interviews and public appearances. Still, the most important question remains unanswered. Did Travis and Taylor actually decide on the name Dolly, or did the idea simply grow from Dolly's unforgettable joke and the public's emotional response to it? The reference provided for this story says that insiders claim the couple intend to honor Dolly in that way, but there has been no direct confirmation included from Travis or Taylor themselves. That distinction matters, especially when discussing something as private and significant as a future child. For now, the story lives somewhere between a touching possibility and an unconfirmed report. But even without confirmation, the original exchange stands on its own as something genuinely memorable. Dolly looked at two people who had just made a remarkable contribution to a cause she cared about and responded with a mixture of gratitude and playful affection. She imagined their future, joked about their first child, and promised that she would love that child. Nobody could have known exactly how emotional those words might become later. That is why the moment continues to resonate. Dolly Parton spent decades creating music that people carried through weddings, celebrations, difficult seasons, family memories, and turning points in their lives. But sometimes a legacy survives in much smaller ways too, through a phrase, a laugh, a charitable cause, or even a name. If Travis and Taylor truly follow through with the reported plan to name their first child Dolly, that child could one day grow up knowing that their name came from a remarkable moment involving one of the most recognizable figures in entertainment history. And if the report ultimately proves to be untrue, the original exchange still remains meaningful because it showed exactly the kind of relationship Dolly had with people she admired. She could turn a donation into a joke into a memory, and a memory into something people would continue discussing long after the cameras stopped. Perhaps that is the most fitting tribute of all. Dolly Parton's greatest legacy was never simply the songs she recorded or the fame she achieved. It was the people she inspired to be generous, hopeful, and kind. Travis and Taylor's reported support for her Imagination Library reflects that same spirit, and the possibility of honoring her through the name Dolly would take that connection one step further. For now, though, the future remains unwritten. There is no confirmed announcement from the couple establishing that Dolly will definitely be the name of their first child, and until Travis or Taylor speak publicly about it, the claim remains something to watch rather than something to declare as fact. But one thing is already certain: Dolly Parton left behind a message that reached far beyond music, and when she looked toward Travis and Taylor's future and jokingly asked about their first child, she created a moment that neither fame nor time could easily erase. Whether or not a future baby is ever named Dolly, those words now carry a tenderness that was impossible to fully appreciate when they were first spoken. And maybe that is the most beautiful part of the story. A legendary woman made a playful request. Two enormously famous people chose to support a cause close to her heart, and somewhere inside that unexpected exchange was a reminder that even the biggest stars are ultimately remembered through the people they touch. Dolly's voice may no longer be part of every new conversation, but her influence continues through the causes she built, the people she inspired, and the memories she left behind. And if the reported plan by Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift ever becomes reality, one simple name could carry that entire story forward into another generation: Dolly.